Joining me now to discuss 26-year veteran of U.S. Border Patrol in Terrell County, Texas Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland. Sheriff, it's good to be with you. A new report says Democratic senators have recently acknowledged shortcomings in addressing border security. From your perspective on the ground, what specific policies have had the most significant impact, positive or negative, of effectively securing this border?
Hey, good morning, Alex. And, first, I've got to start out with saying with President Trump coming in, the bar hasn't been set very high. And I don't say that to take a dig at this administration. It's the absolute truth. But when we talk about policies that were in place by President Trump, first and foremost, you have to bring back the Migrant Protection Protocol. It was a policy put in place by President Trump to deal with what we've dealt with the last 3.5 years with the asylum seekers. Look, we have people coming from all over the world, crossing through the U.S.-Mexico border to make their illegal entry and claim political asylum. And the vast majority of these people would not be eligible for a credible fear claim or an asylum claim. But again, that MPP, Migrant Protection Protocol, is the #1 policy that will make a difference along the U.S.-Mexico border.
Trump centered a lot of his campaign on migrant crossings, and yet he may actually inherit a border that's relatively quiet. We have a full-screen graphic. Unlawful crossings are on track to drop to a new low for the Biden administration, of fewer than 50,000 this month. So how much of this do you actually credit to Biden's executive order or actually to Trump's election victory?
I will say that President Trump has already had an impact on the border, and it goes back to speaking, again, he's already engaged the president of Mexico. And then just him being the leader that he is, letting the rest of the world know you're not going to come to our country illegally, that serves as a huge deterrent. But when we talk about, those numbers that you showed on the illustration, we can't be fooled by those. Yes, we may see less encounters in between the ports of entry because of some of that executive action that was taken 3.5 years into this presidency that should have been taken or left in place. But we can't leave out the fact that we're still letting people in through the CBP-1 app, through ports of entry, that otherwise wouldn't be allowed into this country in a legal manner. And then secondly, we still have the Nicaraguan, Haitian, Cuba, and Haiti agreement where we're flying those people in, or if they have the money to fly themselves in. So there's still, those numbers are misleading, to be honest with you. In between the ports of entry, slower, but people are still coming to this country that shouldn't be allowed in.
We're hearing from leaders of Democratic-led sanctuary cities like Denver, Mayor Mike Johnston, who have pledged to protect immigrant families from mass deportation efforts. It comes after GOP leaders bust thousands of migrants to those places. So why should Democratic leaders now be forced to cooperate with these mass deportations?
Alex, I find it kind of, and I'm smiling because it's kind of funny, because look, back when President Obama was in president for 8 years, in charge of the country, he was known as the deporter-in-chief, and we didn't hear this type of rhetoric. Now that we have a Republican president coming in and one that wants to actually secure the border, we hear this rhetoric. But they're not going to be able to interfere. Look, we'll have federal agencies, we'll have task force, they'll go into these communities, and if they receive cooperation, that'll be good. And if they don't, they'll still be able to carry out their function to search for these criminal aliens that have committed crimes in these states or these cities, and to be able to successfully deport them. And I can tell you, here in Texas, we've got a governor that continues to support the U.S.-Mexico border and protect America.
So much of our economy, our workforce, is made up of immigrant men, women, and families. So how should these nonviolent migrants who are awaiting asylum consider their own status in this country or perhaps potential deportation?
And again, that's where the left's trying to bring the fear in, to scare those that are here that aren't criminals. And there are millions in this country that have come in to work. And a lot of times people say they're looking for a better life. No, they're looking to come to work to be able to send back money home, or they even migrate back home during the off seasons. But those are not the one, and Tom Homan's made it clear that those are not the people they're going to be looking for. But again, that brings the point to an unsecure border versus immigration. We have to secure our border before we start looking at any time of immigration reform. Border security is paramount.
Well, and as we showed, some improvements along that southern border since that executive action. Now with President-elect Trump in office and promising further changes, we'll see exactly how that changes. In the meantime, we're thankful for you, Terrell County, Texas Sheriff Thad Cleveland. Appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you, Alex. God bless you.
God bless you.